Right, guys, let's look at a way of outputting list. Since we are working on some kind of a mini block, so it is ideal that we'll need to list out our blog post. So let's see how we can do that in React. First, I will clean up these things. We'll not need this again. I'll take it out. All these ones, I will take it out. So for us to achieve that, we will need some kind of state to put our post inside so that React can track our post. Each time we update the post, React should also re-render the components so that it can reflect our new post. So we are going to create, we already have our use state here that we imported from last time. Now we are going to create our use state. Let's do cons, and we want to destructure this. We can call this blocks, and then as you know, this will be set blocks. Okay, and then this will be use state. Then the data type that we are going to pass here is going to be an array. In this array, we are going to have some kind of object. So this object, the first key there is going to be an ID and is going to be 1. The second key is going to be some kind of title for our blog post. So each blog post will have a title. And then the title, we can call this, is going to be a string. My first meal. And then we are going to have some kind of author. Each blog post will have an author, the person who writes the post, and this is going to be code dev. And then we are going to have our body, the key of body. So this one is also going to be a string, which will be I like food from India. Okay, now we are just going to, let me make this bigger so we can see. I'm just going to copy this and paste it again inside here. Okay, yes, so this is 1, 2 and 3. Yep. So this ID, it has to be unique, because React is going to use this ID in tracking changes. So we'll leave the data like that there. Let me just change the titles. So, Lion King. American Dream. Okay. Yep. So now let's see how we can output this list, all of them, inside our template. Now, some people would think that we can do something like this, template string, and do block, but this is not going to work. This is an array. This is not going to work. Let's look at that on the browser. You see, it's not going to work. So this is not how we output a list. we are going to use a method in array known as map. We're going to use the map method in array to output all this our list in this JXX. Now the way we are going to do that is we are going to make our curly braces first, okay? And then inside we are going to call this blocks dot map. So we are applying the map method on our block. So we'll do this, and then this map method is going to have a function. This function is going to return us all our values that we are going to need. So it's going to return us JXS, something like this. Okay. Now, each of these is going to be written inside here. We cannot hard code all these values inside here, because should in case our list gets increased, we set in more posts here. That means each time we set a new post here, we are going to hard code it here, which is really boring and time consuming. That is why we are using our array method to map through all these values, so that even if we have just a single blog post inside here, it is still going to work normally. So let's make a div inside here. Okay, in this div, we are going to give a class. Let's give it a class for styling. Class name, we can call this block preview, because I have some CSS that I have made already with these names. So block preview. Okay. Now in React, there is something that we call key value pairs. There is something that we call the keys of every element that is being rendered, which React use in updating the template, which we are going to put here. If we don't put this key here, React is going to give us an error. It will signal to us that there is something missing, which is this key has to be unique. The key has to be unique because it identifies each object here. Each of it has to be identified here. But remember that when we are doing map, we have to take in some value, map block. So for each block, we call it block. You can call it anything. We want to output now block dot ID. So it's going to get us each of these IDs inside here. These ones, you see, they are unique, they are different. Now, inside this our div, we can make an h2 tag, which is going to hold the block title. So we say block dot title. So we are accessing all the titles here. You can see how it has just been populated here. We can have access to all the titles by doing block dot title. And then we can also output the author. We can do that in a p tag. So we can have here written by, we put our curly brace. So this is going to be block dot author. So this one will give us the name of the author who wrote the particular block. We can update this one to Maria. We can update this one to John. So you see the different people who updated these blocks. Yeah, so that is how it is done. Guys, let me show you something. Imagine that we don't have this key here. Okay, now let me show you what happens on the console. React is already showing an error, a lot of errors. Let me refresh this page. See, warning, each child in a list should have a unique key prop. Each child should have a unique key prop. That is why we are putting this our key here, so that each child should have a unique prop. So that if we add a new, let's say we add a new post here, copy this and paste this, and then we change the ID to 5. Okay, I'm missing a comma here. Immediately React updates that accordingly. So guys, that is how we output list in React.